So, Mark, I'm back in my studio at home and back from the southern part of the United States on a road trip. Went through Biloxi, went through New Orleans, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a vlog style show. So, I will show a lot of footage that I got in Biloxi and New Orleans, along with giving people maybe some information on why they might want to visit there. I know you've long enjoyed New Orleans and the Harrah's downtown, and we'll talk about Biloxi that's only 90 minutes away as well.
Yeah, back home, Johnny from Nebraska is going to be upset that your mic's in front of your face again.
It is in front of my face, but our heads are about the same size. I'm using my same setup now that I used when I'm traveling here, so that the camera is the same distance. So hopefully that makes people happy, even if you got the camera back or the microphone back here in my face. But let's get into talking about Biloxi, and then we'll talk about New Orleans and the Harrah's there and what's happening there, because a lot of exciting changes happening there. But Biloxi is just like 90 minutes away from New Orleans, just down the highway. And what's really cool there is that there's 8 major casinos, and they're not, all in the same spot. They're kind of spread out. But my favorite thing, like coming to Biloxi for the first time, is seeing the familiar. Like, we'll talk a little bit about them, but there's Boomtown. Now, do you remember Boomtown in Las Vegas? Probably not.
No, I don't. Quick question, because I've never actually been to Biloxi, but, is it kind of like Atlantic City where there's a pocket of them here and then there's another pocket of them over here? Or is it just, they're kind of just randomly all over the place like Detroit?
Yeah, they're kind of randomly all over the place, but they are in pockets. So I'm going to throw some Google Earth footage up. People can see. You have in one little pocket Boomtown in the Imperial Palace, or IP. Another
Best
little
casino
pocket
name ever, Boomtown.
Boomtown, yes. And I'll get back to Boomtown in a second. Then you have Beau Rivage and Hard Rock in one other little section. Then you have Harrah's and Golden Nugget in another, and then a couple of other casinos kind of spread out. So it is kind of spread out there. But yeah, Boomtown, I was really happy. I visited there in 2020. Got a lot of pictures. Don't have a lot of video of it, but Boomtown in Las Vegas was where Silverton is now. That was the original name of it. It was Boomtown, an Old West theme, and then it became the kind of the lodge with Silverton. There's also other Boomtowns. There's one in Reno and one in New Orleans on a riverboat as well. So that's kind of cool to see those brands of Vegas past. IP is the hotel also next door to that, which is the former Imperial Palace, which of course is what Link used to be here in Vegas.
Is it as crappy as the one in Vegas?
It's a little newer now. Most of the casinos in Biloxi have been rebuilt after Hurricane Katrina. They all suffered a lot of damage. They were closed. So there's definitely areas that are newer. I don't remember IP being particularly nice. What's interesting is that it is now owned by Boyd Gaming. So that particular property was owned by Harrah's Entertainment at one point, and they sold it off to Boyd Gaming a little bit ago. So yeah, it seems pretty nice, but not anything too crazy. I think most people are going to be interested in the 3 casinos down on the water. And I'll start with Golden Nugget, because that looks a lot like the Golden Nugget here in Vegas. I think it was known as the Isle of Capri Casino, and it was the first casino in Biloxi. And then it was bought by Landry's Corporation in 2012, and then basically completely redone in 2013. And it looks very familiar to what you find in Vegas at the Golden Nugget, or even in some other markets like Atlantic City. They all look very similar. Of course, it has one of those Golden Nuggets on display as well. So if you're into that stuff, you can do it. And there's a brand new Margaritaville hotel, not a casino, that's next door, that has a really cool rooftop, like water park and stuff like that. And
Nice.
it's a really interesting looking property. Now, across the street from that is the property I stayed at in 2020 when I was there, and that's the Harrah's Gulf Coast. And I would just say this is a big skip for me. Like, I don't think
Well,
there's
it's a
any reason
Harrah's.
people.
What do you expect?
Yeah, it is a Harrah's. It's one of the least nice Harrah's I've seen. The room wasn't all that nice. The casinos were very kind of small. I think if I remember right, there was 2 casinos split up, and it has like the least amount of charm, I think, of any of the casinos in Biloxi. But it is right across the street from Golden Nugget. So those couple of casinos are sort of clustered together there. But my favorite part of Biloxi, and I think where most people would probably want to stay, is where Beau Rivage is and the Hard Rock, which is right next door to that. And that's because those are probably the 2 nicest properties in Biloxi. And, Beau Rivage, you've probably seen it, Mark, is like a mini version of the Bellagio.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like similar to Atlantic City, where Hard Rock's the nicest one on the water, and then in Borgata is like the nicest one off a bit, and that's kind of like the Vegas style hotel that you go to if you're in Atlantic City and you're in Borgata. You feel like you could be in Vegas, and you have to go outside and look at all the nastiness that is Atlantic City.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. And if you did like Beau Rivage and Hard Rock and went back and forth, you could walk between them in a minute or two and really kind of not deal with the rest of Biloxi, which in many areas looks very residential. Like you'll have these casinos, and right behind them is a bunch of houses or stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to see how it
That's pretty
has
unique.
been
Yeah.
integrated. Yeah, how it's been integrated. But let's talk Beau Rivage now. It does look a lot like the Bellagio, so you will see it's very much made in that same style, built by MGM Resorts. It features 1,740 rooms and 72,000 square feet of casino space, so it's a pretty big casino. And
And everybody lines up outside for the fountain feature, right? For the show.
not quite, yeah. No, there one area that it really falls short is the outside. The exterior hasn't been kept up very well, and you're seeing all kinds of like, like fading paint and stuff like that. And then they have one single like old school fountain out front, and it wasn't even turned on when we visited there just this week. So yeah,
Did they have any people bathing in it like Caesars?
I don't think it would be very good. Maybe a bird or something would fit in there. Now, what's interesting is back before Hurricane Katrina, the way that these casinos had to be built, they had to be built over water. So the Beau Rivage is a good example of that. The whole casino was built on like floating docks, and the very front of the property is where you'll find like the lobby. They have some very kind of open spaces. It doesn't feel like the conservatory at Bellagio. It feels kind of like it's trying to approximate that with less money or something like that. But the hotel, a lot of the restaurants and stuff are on the front end of the property on the land side, and then the casino's built to the back over water. Now they did change the rules for that after Katrina, and they can build casinos on land now.
I was gonna say, can we like talk about how stupid this is? That certain places, like you see it with the riverboat casinos, like, oh, you can't have it on land, but let's just park a boat out here. And okay, like what's the difference? What does it matter if it's on land or if it's in water? And you see with floods and stuff, it's not a good idea. So I mean, it's nice that they've changed the rules on that, but this isn't just in that area. Like we see it in Indiana and stuff like that, where they require casinos to be on water. It's just stupid. It's beyond stupid.
Yeah, it is crazy. And now I think the rule is that the casino has to be within 800 feet of the shore, so they can still build it on land. And so a lot of these have been
So
renovated.
the next time, we just want to make sure it gets hit by any huge storm. There you go. Good.
Yeah, it has to be near water. That's the rule, but at least it can be built on land. And, a good example of that is Hard Rock, which we'll talk about in a second. But Beau Rivage, it feels really nice. It feels like other MGM properties, maybe like Borgata or maybe something more like MGM Grand Detroit, like a regional MGM property. But it'll feel at home if you're used to Vegas-style casinos. When we were there, it was very, very busy. Like I said, it's not as nice as the Bellagio. Like you can look at materials used, like cheaper cuts of marble. Like it doesn't feel that level of high end, and the pictures of the rooms don't seem like they are all that great, but it is a nice property and certainly one that draws a lot of people. Definitely the most busy of the casinos when we visited this week. Now the other one, Hard Rock. Now Hard Rock has an interesting history. It was under construction in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit, and the entire casino was destroyed. Absolutely destroyed in Hurricane Katrina, and a lot of the hotel was. It didn't open, I think, until 2007, recovering from that, and that's sort of where they changed the rules and allowed them to, not build on docks and reinforce everything and put some of the casino over water. Now, it does feel a lot like other Hard Rocks you may have seen, like the old Hard Rock in Vegas, some of the Hard Rock properties in Florida, but it's interesting because it's owned by what was Twin River Worldwide, which is now Bally's Corporation. So it's a Hard Rock owned by Bally's Corporation, not Hard Rock International. Features 500 hotel rooms, 50,000 square feet of gaming space, 56 table games. Has a really awesome guitar sign out front that stands 112 feet tall. And the casino is like circular, tons of LED lighting, like a really cool atmosphere. This is my favorite casino in Biloxi.
Yeah, Hard Rock usually does it right, even though it's kind of weird that it's not owned by Hard Rock, one of the few. But they always, same design, similar looking, and they always have that flair, which I'm really curious to see how it comes out in Vegas with them building that and the guitar tower and everything. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. Probably the most anticipated since Circa, of course.
So there are a couple other casinos, Palace Casino Resort and Treasure Bay. These are just more, properties. I think Palace Casino is a pretty nice property. Treasure Bay seems like it's a little smaller and older. But yeah, 8 casinos basically in total there. Now, if you head up about an hour and a half, you can end up in downtown New Orleans, the French Quarter, all the cool stuff that you want to see there. And right in the heart of downtown, right next to the Mississippi River, is what's currently known as Harrah's New Orleans. And you've stayed there, right?
Yeah, I've stayed there a couple times. Once in a suite, once in the standard room. Both stays were great. It's probably my favorite Caesars property outside of Vegas, easily, and it might be even my favorite compared to all the ones in Vegas. It's right up there as far as that goes. So it's a great place to go stay, especially if you have like a 7 stars where you get your trip every year stuff. That's a great option to redeem. I love the New Orleans area, of course. And even though it should seem like it's the same as Vegas, like late night drinking, lots of partying, lots of, the atmosphere is great. It just feels different. Don't you think the vibe's different? Like, I don't know, less of a Richard, I guess. But just more laid back and cool, and just, it's not for everybody. Definitely there's a dirty side to it, and a lot of smells that you get when you're walking around the French Quarter and everything. But I just feel like it's good if you always go to Vegas and you've never been to New Orleans and you are a Caesars member. I definitely say check it out. Get a different vibe, different city, as well as a great property. The hotel is amazing, and they're changing to Caesars, which I think fits more with the level of quality that it is.
Yeah, so the Hotel Harrah's opened in October of 99 and has 450 rooms, 115,000 square foot casino, which is a giant casino. And it does feel like a big
Very
Vegas
cool
style casino. Yeah, different pockets of it, different things. I do have some video I'm throwing up here that I was able to get. 2,100 slot machines, 90 table games. This is a massive place. And as you pointed out, they're in the process of remodeling it into Caesars New Orleans, and they're spending $325 million. Did see a lot of the construction going on. A new entrance is being constructed, new facade, and basically kind of redoing a lot of the rooms and adding another 340 room tower as well. And it's a great location right next to Mississippi River. Like I said, it's about 90 minutes door to door between Harrah's New Orleans and Biloxi. So very easy to do these sort of as a combined trip. I actually, a couple years ago, the first time I went to Biloxi, we had a meet up in New Orleans for Miles to Memories, and then I drove down there for the day. This time I dragged the family along so I could film while we were driving through on the way to New Orleans. But yeah, it's really cool. And the way they have the casinos built on the backside in Biloxi, it's okay if you have a family too, because you can, deal with the hotels and everything without actually having to go through the casino, which is kind of nice, unlike in Vegas and elsewhere. But Harrah's, I definitely think New Orleans is a property that I can't wait to see the transition to Caesars, that property that I really like. And I had just forgotten how big and kind of cool that whole property was when I walked it last week.
Yeah, and it's kind of unique that the hotel is across the street from the casino, and it's connected by an underground walkway, essentially. So you have to, go through that versus when you walk out of the lobby of the hotel, you're in the city. Like, you're not attached to the casino, which is kind of unique. And that makes it cool too if you're with family and stuff, that you don't have to walk through the casino to get to. As well as I should point out, like, the steakhouse there is, we've always had great food there. A good use of your $100 diamond dinner certificate. And then whenever you play there, I feel like they rate you differently, and I think it's better than Vegas. Like, some of the best offers I've ever gotten have been from gambling there. So if you gamble in Vegas and you've never been there, when you go there, put the time in, the first night or whatever, and you'll see some pretty lucrative offers come your way. I even had like a limo pickup once there, as well as a flight credit a couple times where they'll give you a couple $100 towards flight. Never seen anything even close to that when going to Vegas. So that's kind of a cool aspect to it, I think. As well as, I should say, like, their Diamond Lounge, when Laurel Lounges were a thing, was smaller. So this was like the only casino in the whole Caesars Entertainment thing that would give you 4 free drinks at any bar as a Diamond member, up to $15. So you don't have to go into, overcrowding in the lounge and everything. So it was always really cool. You go to dinner, your 2 drinks per person are covered at dinner. That's a huge hit to your bill right there.
Yeah, it's a cool property, and I can't emphasize how neat the location is. It's right on Canal Street, which is the major sort of hub. You cross Canal Street, you're in the French Quarter. 3 minute walk to Cafe du Monde. 2 minute walk to the Mississippi River, and you're right in the heart of Bourbon Street, probably in 5 minutes. So it's definitely a cool thing. Highly recommend doing this. We'd love to hear you guys what kind of comp offers you get when you go to Biloxi, go to New Orleans. Any kind of color you guys want to add to it. Make sure to leave a comment. I know a lot of you kind of like to do it, but I know a lot of people have been asking what it's like to go to these places, what you need to do, as they're looking for maybe more value oriented places to go, a little bit cheaper than Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas isn't offering value. Oh,
I mean, at least in Biloxi, you have a very wide range of casinos. You have a little bit of strip. It's really beautiful too in the summer with all the water and the views and things like that you get. Similar to maybe Atlantic City in that way, so it's neat.
Do they have a boat at all going down the river, kind of like they do in Laughlin, or no?
Not that I've seen. They do have tours and stuff, but I don't think there's anything connecting all the casinos other than probably driving. So definitely would say you need a car in Biloxi, or I guess you could Uber around. But if you're gonna stay in one of those little pockets like Beau Rivage, Hard Rock, or Harrah's, Golden Nugget, stuff like that, maybe just getting an Uber would be fine. But I think renting a car in New Orleans, making that drive, certainly worth it. And can't wait to hear your guys' best tips. What's your favorite property in Biloxi? What do you think about Harrah switching over to Caesars in New Orleans? And what are your favorite sort of Gulf Coast gambling memories? Let us know down in the comments. And we'll be back later this week with our normal MTM Vegas news show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you next time, or later this week.